Hey, so what you been waiting for? 3.3 and 3.4. I won't bore you, but I tried uploading this once before and it apparently didn't work and I deleted the video. So here's a new one, a brand new one. Long division and synthetic division and what we can do with synthetic division. That's what this is all about. So let's start off with long division. Now long division comes from doing two numbers. So if you had 23 into 184, just randomly, then what we would do is say how many times does 23 go into 18, because it's the same number of digits. Since it's 0, we go, okay, how many times does 23 go into 184? Now that's harder for me to do since I don't know my 23 times tables. So then I look at 2 and 18 and it gives me a guess. 9. 2 goes into 18 9 times. Now if I try 9 and then I multiply 23 times 9, it's going to be too big. If I try 8, though, 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 2, 8 times 2 is 16. That's it. We subtract, we get 0, and then what we would do is we'd bring down the next number, but we don't have another number, and we don't have a remainder, so this is the answer, right? This is just me doing a random problem with numbers, but the idea was we divided first, said 2 into 18, and then we multiplied 8 times 23 to get this guy, and then we subtracted to get 0, and then we would bring down, and that makes the order of which we work long division. Don't miss school, bro. That's how I remember it. Different times. Seems like only last year that we were in a class, and you were like, I can't miss school. Now, you wake up and you're like, okay, I think I could do like 2 hours of work, and then the rest of the day is just, sluggish, watching TV, playing video games, doing nothing all day. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyway, maybe that's just me. Okay, let's divide. So the first thing we're going to do, divide, much like the last time with the numbers, we're going to start just with the first two terms. So 28x squared divided by negative 4x. We're going to divide these. And then we get negative 7 when we divide, and we get x when we subtract, right? Put that little bubble. It's not part of the program. Okay, multiply. We're going to take this guy, and then we're going to multiply it by him. But really what's happening here is we have negative 7x times negative 4x plus 1 in parentheses. So it's distributive property, right? So negative times negative is a positive, 28x squared. Negative times 1 is negative 7x. Okay? Subtract. We're going to subtract this guy, but it's like it was in parentheses, though, because it's a thing. It's a single thing, binomial. So we're going to distribute this minus sign, which in essence just changes the signs. And that's going to make these two cancel. And it's going to say two different signs mean subtract, keep the larger number sign. There you go. It's like combining like terms, right? And then bring down is the last step. And then we're going to start all over. Blech. So we're going to divide negative 20x divided by 4x. If you want to write it off to the side, you can. There's no shame in that. That gives you positive 5. The x is canceling, right? All right, then we multiply. 5 times negative 4x is negative 20x. 5 times 1 is 5. And then subtract. I'm going to change the signs and then combine. Oh, look, I get 0, and there's nothing else to bring down, so there is my answer. Right? And that's long division, right? So it's just a process. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And if you need to do some work off to the side, please do that. Put it in a little bubble, though, so you don't get confused. Let's look at number 2. We have 3x plus 1 on the outside. And then we have negative 6x to the third plus 4x squared plus 17x plus 5. I like to draw the house last because I never know how long that polynomial is going to look. Okie dokie. Divide. We're going to say negative 6x cubed divided by 3x. I'm going to go off to the side to do that. And I get negative 2x squared. And yeah, you can line it up with what's under the house. You can line it up with the x squareds. Don't do anything with them. Just line them up. It doesn't matter, though. You can put this anywhere you want. You just want the space. a little bubble. Multiply, we get negative 6x cubed. And by the way, after you multiply what you found by the first term, if it doesn't match, you did it wrong. They have to match every time. Multiply negative 2x squared times 1, though, and you get this. Subtract means change the signs, then combine. So those cancel. 4 plus 2 is 6x squared. And then bring down just one term, 17x. And let's do it all over again. 6x squared this time divided by 3x, because that's the first term here. It gives me 2, and it gives me x. Now it's positive, so I'm going to put a plus, since this is one big polynomial. All right, multiply 2x times 3x, and you get 6x squared. They match. Yay. 2x times 1 is 2x. Change the signs, make them negative, then combine. They cancel, like they should. 17 minus 2 is 15. And then bring down the last term and do it one more time. All right, so first term, 15x, divided by 3x. The x's cancel, you're left with 5. Again, put a plus. And then we multiply. 5 times 3x is 15x. They match. Yeah, 5 times 1 is 5. Don't care if they match, but they happen to. Subtract, change both signs, then combine. That gives me 0. So again, no remainder. Answer is this. We like those that don't have remainders, because then we don't have to write a fraction. But if there was one, if this was like a 2, then we would write 2 over 3x plus 1. That's all. That's the only difference. Do I want to do this one on a separate sheet of paper? Yes, I do. Number 3. We have 2u squared plus u. And if you don't like the letter u, you can change it to x. Just be careful that when you're answering the question, you're not putting in, x instead of u. But anyway, so here's the thing. There was a couple of tips in your notes. There were 2 tips. It said must be in order. And what that means is that we start with the highest power, we go down. So far, so good. I haven't finished this, because there's a second tip which say zeros for missing terms. So with those 2 tips in mind, if I have a missing term going down, so u to the 4th, u to the 3rd, u squared should be next, but I don't have a u squared. So I'm going to put a 0 for it, like that. And I do have 2u, so that's where I'll stop. And yes, you can put plus 0 and plus 0 on the end, but you don't have to, okay? Okay. Just the middle ones, missing terms in the middle. Okay, divide. If you want to write DMSB again, just so you can have that for yourself, you're going to divide 8u to the 4th and 2u squared. 8u to the 4th, 2u squared. That gives me 4u squared. So I'm going to put it over here because I like lining them up. And then that is a little bubble. And then I'm going to multiply this next. So we get 8u to the 4th. Good, they match. And then we get 4u to the 3rd. Okay, that's multiply. And then subtract, change the signs, then combine. So they cancel. 12 minus 4 is 8u to the 3rd. And then bring down 0u squared. Don't bring down both, just one at a time. And then we do it again. 8u to the 3rd divided by 2u squared. We get 4u. Then we multiply, we get 8u to the 3rd. We multiply, we get 4u squared. And then we subtract, so change the signs, then combine, we get negative 4u squared. And then we're going to bring down negative 2u. And then we're going to do it one more time. Negative 4u squared divided by 2u squared. The u squareds cancel. You're left with negative 2. Sorry, I ran out of room. And then multiply. Negative 4u squared, negative 2 times 2. And then negative 2 times u is negative 2u. Subtract means change the signs, then combine. And oh look, 0 again. So our answer is up here. No remainder on any of those. See, I was trying to be nice. Not that remainder is that bad. But still, that's how you do long division. All right, synthetic division is a little different. So I'm going to write the problem so you can see it without having to have the worksheet pulled up. And that's not how they wrote it. They wrote it this thing divided by this thing, and you know, it's the same thing. So what I like to do is I like to draw a box for synthetic division. This number changes sign to go in the box. So it was positive 7, now it's negative 7. And this always happens. From x plus number becomes negative number. If this was x minus number, this would become a positive number. Okay? Now the numbers that go on this side are these numbers. Him, and him, right? So we got 1, 16, and 61. And we're just going to put a space, no letters. Then we drop a space and draw a line. So this is the setup. You just got to get used to this. Draw the box, put the opposite number in here for the bottom, and then put the top numbers next to it, drop a space, draw a line. Cool? All right. Now, bring down the 1. Whatever this number is, comes straight down. Nothing happens to it. And then any number that's below the line gets multiplied by the box and put above the line. So 1 times negative 7 is negative 7. And any two numbers above the line get combined like you would normally do. So if it was the same sign, we would add, and if it was different signs, we subtract, like this one. Subtract and get 9. And then we take this number and multiply it by this box. So 9 times negative 7 is negative 63. And then these two are different signs, so we subtract. We get 2 with a negative in front. And that's it. I always, whenever I look at the numbers on the bottom are the numbers in your answer. But that last number kind of needs to be separate because he's the remainder. Oh no, running out of ink. No more pink pen. He's the remainder. So if that's the remainder, this is the number and this is the x. And the answer would be 1x plus 9 plus, and then negative 2 over x plus 7, the original denominator. That's how we write remainders. Okay? Oh, I have a backup pen. Woo! And it always works like that. The answer is always 1 less than the original in power with synthetic division. Now, long division, it could be 2 less or 3 less. It just depends on what is being used. But if you have a synthetic division problem, it's 1 less. Ooh, I hate how thin this is. Whatever. Backup pen, you know what I'm saying? It was never meant to come in, but, you know, it had to come in. My first pen got sick, you know? Okay. Draw the box. Put the opposite number in here for the bottom, so negative 4 becomes positive 4. These numbers are all there. By the way, the same tips as before always works for his too. So they have to be in order, which they are so far. They are. And any missing terms have to have a 0 in its place. Well, there's no missing terms so far. So anyway, 6, negative 26, positive 6, negative 8. And yes, you need the negatives. You just don't need the letters. That's all. All right, so bring down the first one. That's what we do with it, no matter what it is. And then we multiply. And then we combine. That gives me negative 2. And then we multiply, getting negative 8. And we combine, also negative 2. We multiply, negative 8. Combine, and it's negative 16. Now I go, okay, I really wanted those to match because that's what happened last time. No, it actually didn't. It would give me 0. But, sometimes you don't get 0. But let's just check because sometimes... So 6, and then that's a 4. That should be positive 4. Yeah. Oh, this is supposed to be plus 8. Hold the phone. See, that's why you got to check your copying from the worksheet. That's plus 8. This is plus 8. That is supposed to be your 0. See? Sometimes red flags are good ones. Anyway, so this is the remainder. Remainder of 0 means I don't have to write a fraction. That's the number, that's the x, and this is the x squared. So I would write 6x squared minus 2x minus 2 as my answer. Gotta check. All right. Number 6. we have negative 2x to the third minus 10x, I'm checking now, 10x squared minus 5x plus 12. And that's all over x plus 4. So when I draw the box, I put negative 4 in here, right? And then I put negative 2, negative 10, negative 5, positive 12. Draw a space, draw a line, right? Just check. X cubed, x squared, x number. Okay, nothing missing, all in order. Good. And those are the numbers with their negatives. Bring down the first one, negative 2. Multiply, you get positive 8, because 2 negatives make a positive. And then we subtract, get negative 2. Multiply, we get positive 8. Then we subtract, we get positive 3. Multiply, we get negative 12. And ooh, they match. Cancel. So since this is the remainder, and this is the number, and this is the x, and this is the x squared, my answer would be negative 2x squared minus 2x plus 3. I hope that you guys have gotten to the point where when you see a video, you can hit pause when you feel like you might know how to do it and try it yourself, and then hit play to see if that's what you got. And you can find out where you went wrong by watching where I'm going. You know, that's what, you should be doing. I don't know, just me. Okay. This one is x to the fourth plus 16 over x minus 2. Yeah, we got some missing terms. Where's the x cubed? Where's the x squared? Where's the x? I don't know. But the bottom number is when it changes sign and goes in the box. And this number is a 1, so I got to write it. Don't forget that. And then x cubed is 0, x squared is 0, and x is 0. And then there's a 16 at the end. So this is x to the fourth, this is x cubed, this is x squared, this is x, and this is the number, right? This is just me kind of thinking about it and why there are zeros. You don't have to do this part. But you do need those zeros. You need them in order for this to work. So bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add. Oh, see, adding zeros is not bad. Multiply, add, multiply, and oh no, they don't subtract like they've been doing. But you know what? That happens sometimes. With this one, I happen to know that it is supposed to be a remainder. So in this case, x cubed is the first one because it's 1 less. So we got 1x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x plus 8, and then plus 32 over the original denominator, x minus 2. Okay? All right, so that is getting used to synthetic division, and synthetic division is what we use to find something called zeros of the polynomial. Or actually, this has another name, roots of the polynomial. But you know, we argue about which word to use in algebra sometimes, and it's whoever's writing the book gets to say. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is with history. Whoever writes the book is the one that gets to tell the truth, even if it's not the truth. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm getting sidetracked. Zeros is the term we use, and that is numbers that if we were to plug in a number, right, it would be equal to 0 into a function. So whatever x is, hold on, this thing's rickety. There we go, that's better. Whatever x is, we're going to plug in a number, and if we plug it in and we do a bunch of order of operations stuff, we get 0 as the answer, then this number is a 0. What's called a 0. Okay, so if we have the function is x cubed, let me write this. So this is number 8. F of x is x cubed minus 1x squared minus 52x plus 160. And they say use synthetic division, divide this by x plus 8. So this is the idea. Somebody knows that negative 8 is a 0. Because, watch, do synthetic division with this junk, right? Is that right? Okay. And then bring down the 1, -8. Add, because there's the same sign, get -9. Multiply, you get positive 72. There, 20 when you subtract. And that gives you -160, and that gives you 0. Now, the fact that the remainder is 0 means that -8 is a 0 of the polynomial. Okay? That's what they knew when they asked you to divide by x plus 8. They knew that this guy is a 0. Now what's left over, though, is a quadratic equation, x squared minus 9x plus 20. And if you set that equal to 0, then this is a quadratic equation, isn't it? It's something you know how to do. So let's factor, because that was one of the ways to solve quadratics. So just a review, to solve a quadratic equation, we either factor or we use the formula. You remember x is equal to -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That is the formula. Now we don't have to use that here because this actually factors. X minus 5 and x minus 4 multiply to give you 20 and add to give you -9. All right, then we set them both equal to 0 and we get x equal to 5, and this gives me x equal to 4. If you need to see that, let me know. I'll hook you up. But there they are. Those are your zeros that you want, -8, positive 5, and positive 4. And you would write your answer with these little squigglies. Squigglies. They're called braces, but, squiggly is a more comical word. Anyway, there you go. That's how you find the zeros of a polynomial, by using synthetic division. So let's do that again, because that might have been like, what? Excuse me, what? I get it. They give you another problem, except this time they say 4 is a 0. So let's just go ahead and set up the box with 4 in it, because they told you that's the 0. Last time they didn't say x plus 8 was the 0. They just said divide by x plus 8. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, But this time they're like, hey, 4 is a 0. And you're like, got it, thanks. Thanks for not hinting about it, just straight up telling me. I really appreciate that a lot more. Okay, so we set up the synthetic division because we know 4 is a 0. We know that we should get 0 as my remainder. So let's find out. Let's just make sure. Bring down the 3, multiply, combine. I think that's -19. I can't. Multiply, that's -76. Subtract, we get positive 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Yeah, we got 0. All right, that's good. That's what we want. But these numbers are telling me what my quadratic equation looks like. 3x squared minus 19x plus 6. And if I say that equal to 0, and by the way, this 0 is not from him. It's just me setting it equal to 0. Like over here I had it on the last problem. Whatever. So we want to try to factor this, and I can factor it using the snowflake. You remember that? Did I teach that to you? I don't know. I don't remember anything anymore. 3 times 6 is 18. So we want two numbers that multiply to give me 18 and combine to give me -19. Add, specifically. And that is -18 and -1. Right? Ah. And then 3 goes above both of those. And then I want to reduce. So 3 over -18 becomes 1 over -6. And then 3 over -1, that's reduced. So this becomes 1x minus 6. And 3x minus 1. There's a trick with this as well, but I don't want to confuse you, so let's just do it the same way and we'll be fine. X minus 6 equal to 0 gives me x equal to 6. And then 3x minus 1 equal to 0 gives me, 3x equal to 1, and x is equal to 1/3. Ooh, be careful. So when we divide by 3, 3 is in the denominator. Okay, and then what was the other 0? It was this one. So if we wrote it all out, we would say 1/3, comma 4, comma 6, like so. Those are all the zeros. And that's solving the equation, in fact, of this thing, 3x squared minus 31x plus 3x cubed minus 31x squared plus 82x minus 24 equal to 0. Finding all those solutions is, here you go, we did it with this synthetic division and then solving a quadratic equation. 2 steps, synthetic division, solve with a quadratic equation. And then number 10 and number 11 is more of the same. It's just now they're giving you the 0 to go along with it. So just like number 9, we put -3 up here, and then we would put 1 for x cubed, 6 for 6x squared, and then 5, and then -12. And I'm sorry, I'm not writing it out. Bring down the 1, multiply, combine, multiply, combine, multiply, combine. Hey, we did good. So we get x squared plus 3x minus 4. We're going to set that guy equal to 0. Oh, I can factor that. X plus 4 and x minus 1, right? And again, if you're having trouble factoring, you need to go back and look at some of those factoring notes that we did, you know? And if you need a video on that, I'll try to fit one in. Just let me know, okay? In the, email, inbox, whatever. Anyway, this gives you x equal to -4, and this gives you x equal to +1. So here you go. Those are your 3 zeros, and we write it like so: -4, -3, 1. And yeah, I'm putting them in order, but is it that important? Not really. Okay. Number 11. So, same deal. 4 goes in the box. 2, -5, -21, and +36 go on the side. And then we do synthetic division. This should be 0. Let's bring down the 2, multiply, combine, multiply, combine, multiply. Hey, we got it. Sorry. All right, so 2x squared, plus 3x minus 9 equal to 0. And we're going to solve this guy. Again, I can use the snowflakes, so I'm going to do that because I like the snowflake. 3, the middle number, goes up here, and then 2 times -9 is -18. So then I say, what are two numbers that multiply to give me 18 and subtract to give me 3? And that is 6 and -3, right? This number goes above, and let's see, this guy is reduced. This guy reduces to 1/3. So when I factor it, I get 1x plus 3 and 2x minus 3, like so. Yeah. And then I set each one equal to 0. X plus 3 equal to 0 gives me x equal to -3. And then 2x minus 3 equal to 0 gives me 2x equal to +3. And then divide by 2, you get 3 halves. So my answer, -3, 3 halves, +4, because don't forget, this guy is one of the originals. I gave that to you. All right, now all of that, 9, 10, 11, and 12, I'm sorry, 9, 10, and 11 is preparing you for number 12, 13, and 14. The 12, 13, and 14 are all asking you to find all the zeros like this, except now they're not giving you one. I'm sorry, I'm losing sunlight. So let me take this shade off of my lamp. Okay. Hey, we have light. All right. So for number 12, we have, let's just write f of x is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x minus 12. Okay. So in this case, what they want you to do is find the first 0 by guessing. So guess the first 0. Guess it. What? Yeah, just plug in a number and see if it gives you 0. Eh? Not bad, right? I mean, this sounds like a lot of work, but hey, it's what we gotta do. Now here's the thing. If I try 1 and it doesn't work, look, f of 1 is 1 plus 3 minus 4 minus 12. That's not it. And then I try 2, and I got 2 cubed is 8, plus 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12, and then -8, and then -12. That is 0. Ding, ding, ding. What do we have for Johnny? A brand new car. No? No. All right. So we got 2 to go in the box. Now, what if I hadn't gotten a 0 out of 1 or 2? What's next? 3? 4? What if you just still don't have a 0? Do you keep going? How far do you keep going before you give up? It's different for all of us. Like me, maybe I give up around 10. I don't know. But then, you know, we could also have a negative number that works. So do you go back and try -1 and -2? And how far do you go there? Some of you be like, I don't want to try any. And in which case, I'm sorry, this is a math class. You got to do something. So here's the thing. We have that little P's and Q's theorem. It's called the rational root theorem. And this says, if you take all the factors of the last number, so in this case, -12, and you divide it by all the factors of the first number, which is a 1, then those are all of the ones that might work. So -12, you get ±1, ±2, that goes into 12, ±3, that goes into 12, ±4, ±6, and ±12. So these are all the different numbers that could possibly work. These are possibles, possible zeros. These are candidates running for president, and they all suck. Now, never mind. You know what? I'm not talking about politics. This is math. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to try all of these, and if none of them work, that's it. They're none. There are no zeros. There are no rational zeros. That's what the theorem says. If it's not one of these, it's nothing. So you don't have to try 5 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you know? You don't have to try fractions at all. There are no fractions. But we found one pretty quickly, so let's go ahead and do the thing. 1, 3, -4, and -12. Drop space, draw a line. Bring down the 1, multiply, add, multiply, subtract, multiply, subtract. Hey, you've got a 0. That's what should happen. This becomes x squared plus 5x plus 6. And we're going to solve that guy, which is a nice little trinomial. We factors into x plus 2 and x plus 3. Write that out, by the way. You don't want to mistakenly write that your zeros are +2 and +3. You'll be wrong. Well, +2 will be right, but that's coincidence. In fact, this is -2, and this is -3. So if I write out my answers, I would write -3, -2, and +2. Or if you want to be fancy, you can put plus or minus 2 here. You don't have to be fancy. Okay, number 13. So we have f of x is 4x cubed minus 19x squared plus 19x plus 6. I'm going to screw that up again. And now we're going to guess number, but let's narrow down our choices. So my p over q, let's see, p's would be 1, 2, 3, and 6. And it doesn't matter if you have these plus or minuses in front. You don't need that. Just know that it could be positive or negative, and you'll be fine. All right, and then we have q's, which are all the numbers that go into 4. So we have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4. So we got some choices. And so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the first one, we're gonna divide it into each one. And we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, and 6, right? And then we're gonna take 2, we're gonna divide it in each one. So 1 over 2 is a choice. 2 over 2 is already there. 3 over 2 is a choice. And then 6 over 2 is already there. It's 3. Okay? And then we're going to take 4 and do the same thing. So we got 1/4. 2/4 is 1/2. We got 3/4. And we got 6/4 is 3/2. So there's all our possibles. These are the numbers you can try. Now, there's some fractions involved, but hopefully we don't have to try those. Because plugging in a fraction in all this means we're going to have fractions being cubed and squared and multiplied by numbers, and then we're going to combine fractions. We're going to find common denominator. Or you can just use your calculator. Calculator. So let's try 1. What happens if we do f of 1? Let's see, we get 4 minus 19 plus 19 plus 6. That's not 0, because that would be 10. All right? You can use your calculator if you like. Let's try 2. We get 2 cubed is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Oh, my God. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 19 is 76. And then 2 times 19 is 38 plus 6. Let's see, 38 and 32 make 70. 70 plus 6 is 76. And yay! Hey, it happened again. 2 is our savior. But that's what we have to do. We just have to keep plugging in numbers until we find one. And then we do synthetic division. 4, negative 19, positive 19, and positive 6. That's from the original. Bring down the 4. Multiply. Subtract. Multiply. Subtract. Multiply. Oops. Subtract. There we go. So we get 4x squared minus 11x minus 3 equal to 0. This is again going to be factored using a snowflake. I'm going to show you a trick this time, though. If you use the snowflake, negative 11 goes up top, 4 times negative 3 goes in the bottom, and then you say, okay, what two numbers multiply to give me 12 but subtract to give me 11? That's these two. And then you put that first number above both of them. He's nice and reduced. He needs to reduce by dividing by 4. 1 over negative 3. That's what you get. All right? So we got 1 over negative 3 and 4 over negative 1. Now, here's a trick. If we have 1 over negative 3, we can flip it. Wait, you can see that. Flip it and then change the sign. So this becomes 3 over 1 and it's positive. This guy, that's it. That's the 0. I don't have to go through that whole 1x minus 3 equal to 0 and then it's x plus positive 3. Same thing here. We can flip it so it's 1 over 4, and because it was positive, now it's negative. Cool, huh? And there's the other 0. So if I write my answer, put negative 1/4, then 2, then 3. Those are the zeros of that guy. Okay, so Snowflake has got this cool little, fast trick to find the zeros, but you don't have to do it. You can just write the factors out and then set each factor equal to 0, and nobody's going to judge you, man. Woman. Animal. I don't know. Blob. What are we now? All right, this one is a nicer one, I guess, at the end. This is a hard worksheet, and so I wanted to make a nice one at the end, which is funny because I think that there is a trick to it that makes it not so nice. But all the factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4, and all the factors of 1 is just 1, so those are the answers. These are the possibles, 1, 2, and 4, or negative 1, negative 2, negative 4. So let's try 1. Hey, way less chances here. 1 plus 4 minus 1 minus 4. Ooh, that's a 0. First one out of the box. See? Try to make it easy. Synthetic division with 1, because that was my guy. So we got 1, 4, negative 1, negative 4. And then we're going to drop a space, draw a line. Do some synthetic division. Bring down the 1. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Subtract. Multiply. Subtract. Woo! So that means we have x squared plus 5x plus 4 equal to 0. Oh man, that even factors nicely. Look, two numbers that multiply to give me 4 and add to give me 5 is 4 and 1. Again, don't say those are the zeros. Those aren't the zeros. It's negative 4 and negative 1, right? Right. So if I write my answer, it'd be negative 4, negative 1, positive 1. Nice. Thank you for joining. I think that was it. Oh yeah, that was it.